Hello everybody, and welcome back to another 6-scale figure review with me, your host, That Mania. And today we have the guy who at one point did lead the Power Rangers, but fell far from grace once the Green/White Ranger became considerably more popular than he ever was. Today we have the Red Ranger, who, honestly, the fact that he was not released first just goes to show how little he matters after Season 2. That's just how it is, man. But the box is similar to the previous two. Silhouette of the Ranger. Generic kind of font here with that silvery text in the, you know, how it is. We've seen this before. We'll see it again, probably 3 more times. Not much else to talk about. Some generic lightning. Blah, blah. Let's get the figure out and talk about this guy, shall we then? So just like my previous 2 reviews here, Rocky does try his best to replicate that movie look as best as possible. But just like the previous 2, the movie look is a bit weird. It's got some weird things going on. Obviously, it is a lot more vibrant here. Not as vibrant as the blue, but the red definitely helps some of those parts that you might not have seen with the original stand out just that little bit more. For better or for worse, I guess. But for starters, Red Ranger always looks good. That red always pops with those white accents on it. So we'll just have to see when we take a closer look at him here in a second if he stands out a little bit more than the others, or if he's just going to fall into the same loop that the previous 2 did. So why don't we get him off of the spinning turntable of doom here and take a closer look at him and the nothing he comes with. So, before I go over accessories, I just want to say, when I opened this box, it smelled heavily of, third-party figures have a very distinct smell to them, I think. But this one smells a lot like spray paint. Like heavily like spray paint. And I'm not sure if it's the figure itself or just, some sort of after smell. But it still smells like spray paint. I've had this guy out of the box for a while now. But other than that, all he comes with is his blaster, but in red. Stupid little blaster. Still don't like it. Whatever. Just, holster right there in the spray paint. So, bringing our Jason wannabe a little bit closer here. So let's bring us a little closer here so we can get him in the light. And just like my previous problems with the other ones here, they pretty much are all the exact same thing. The helmet looks weird because they tried to overcomplicate the design. They tried to do a little bit too much, and it doesn't quite work. This one is one of the better ones. I'm a bit happier with the way this one has turned out so far because it's probably the least changed of all of them except for the white, which, the white helmet is perfect in itself. It's just some shapes, it's a little bit rounder at the top. There's more definition here on the actual Tyrannosaurus. You can see it's bulging out a little bit as opposed to the original one, which has some black texture lines there to really help emphasis the pop out. This one is just implied popping out. The mouth plate, while being a similar shape, is more rounded as opposed to the Red Ranger's angular one. And the helmet also is a bit more rounded off, on the sides here, as opposed to the Red Ranger one, which comes to a rounded point, kind of, almost, which you will see when I pop him out a little bit later on. But it's missing a lot because it's just smoothed out the red and removed all of, these pretty black lines that kind of define the Tyrannosaurus on top of his head. So it kind of looks more like a happy lizard, because you see the eyes, and you see the mouth, but you don't really get the idea because there's no defined shapes. Those are nostrils right there. You'd probably never even notice because it just kind of looks like a texture line. Anyway, moving down, we have the same issue that I've had on the other ones. I wish the power coin had an ape because obviously he can swap out for both in the movie. As later in the movie, he does get red ape powers. Again, the symbol doesn't look like it's centered. I think they're all like this, where it feels slightly more to the left than it does the right. And honestly, I should just check to make sure that that's not just the movie design, because it does feel a little coincidental that all three have done it so far. But I have the same problem where I wish the diamonds continued on and it wasn't just one in the middle. It doesn't break up the color as well. So it's just all of this red. And you can see here the armor piece, which it could come off, theoretically. Does cover this yucky feeling undersuit, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's got like this yucky texture to it. It had the same problem with the other ones, but it's like sticky and everything's been sticking to it. So if you have like a dog or something, the hair is going to get stuck to it and it just doesn't come off all that easily, which is an absolute pain. And I feel like it will start like flaking away over time, especially because this company's not tolerances, their budgets might be smaller. They might be cutting corners where it doesn't matter, to them at least. And that's my biggest concern over time. All of these armor pieces do have like this separation gap where it could come off if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, unless you're like, I'm gonna take this armor off and put it on my regular Red Ranger and see how well that works. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd love to check that out at some point. Not today though, because I feel like I will break it. But you could see, just like the blue and the black, it's got these ringy boys on the arms there to prevent bending of the arms too much. If you bend these arms too much, the wrist thing here will just pop the hand right off because there won't be enough clearance. So be careful of that when posing. Some people might want to do the poses like the back behind the scenes movie poses. Can't really do that with some of them, especially the Black or the Blue Ranger, because of the way their hands are and the way the gauntlets here work. Just like I said in the previous videos, the gauntlets I'm not a huge fan of because the diamonds aren't touching. They do have separated spaces in between them, which are all random kind of intervals, which are probably, obviously, they're probably all just remolded of the same thing. Nothing I can do about that except just accept it. When I did open this guy up, the power coin belt here did pop off immediately, which, now that I'm looking at it, I never really registered the fact that the power coin holder is the color of the Ranger as opposed to the original show where they're all black. That is weird. I didn't even notice that. I don't know how I haven't noticed that, but I have noticed it now. He has his holster, just like the other two, which is the only other thing that comes in the box other than his hands and the stand. So you can see here the yucky material continues here down to this weirded curved material, which leads to the thigh armor, which, just like everything else, can come off. As you can see, there's kind of gaps here and there. So if you wanted to pop that off and see more of that yucky material, you can. The knee pads are connected to the knee armor there, and it leads down to the shoes. And the like the boot area, which has the same problem with the non-connected diamond, leads to these nice red line shoes. So all in all, very similar, if not exactly the same as the previous two, with obviously a different helmet in a different color. But speaking of the previous two, why don't we bring those two out here? Let's get Billy and Adam out here and get them all lined up together. So of the three so far, I think the Red Ranger is probably the one that's translated over from original look the best. I think that's pretty clear by the fact that it looks the most similar to the original one. Black Ranger is a kind of a close second, but it does have its problems. Blue Ranger helmet, however, is gross, but he makes up for it by being the only one with some sort of accessory that's not just the generic ones that he has with everything else. You can't really see it here, but like I said with the previous little bit, all of these guys have hair stuck to them right now that it's not coming off because I take one off and another one gets back on there. I don't know what this material is, but I hate it. And I think it's just going to get worse over time. So, like I said, be very careful about that. And, yeah, these guys are just really good for what they are so far. We'll have to see how pink and yellow turn out. Obviously, white is going to look the exact same as these guys, but white and the armor bit But pink and yellow should be a little bit different because they're female bodies, and it's not just the same exact thing, somewhat. So we'll have to wait and see how those go to get the whole lineup going. For now, let's bring out the other Red Ranger and take a closer look at Jason versus Rocky. So, I feel like a broken record at this point, but as I've said with the previous two Ranger reviews, obviously the original Ranger look just has that overall better look because it has the, more of the white breaking up the chest. The helmet just looks better overall, at least in my opinion. The belt has the black line breaking up everything a little bit better as opposed to this all white belt. And those little splashes of black just every now and then help to break up the overall color monotony, because this guy is all red. Anything that should have been black is red, and it's a little too much for a person who loves red. It's too much, and I shouldn't be having to say that, but it is. And as you can see with the helmets, like I said, this Red Ranger has more definition in the Tyrannosaurus part of the helmet. So as you can see here, the helmets are drastically different. The original has a lot more definition and black lines breaking up the helmet as opposed to this one, which is just more smooth colors and the implication. You can also see, because of those black lines, you can kind of see like the angry eye look of the Tyrannosaurus as opposed to this one, which just looks like he's got black dots on his head for no real apparent reason and a little bulge of head at the front. It's almost translated over well, but it's just missing like key details as previously stated multiple times at this point. It's the closest so far, though, to being almost good. Anyway, let's do some articulation. Not like we haven't done this before. So, like normal, life ending 360 degrees, not a problem in the world. Head looks up that far. Head looks down that far. It's pretty good. Pretty wide range of motion for at least the head. Arm goes up that far, back and forth. Be careful of this outfit. Arm goes up that far, and arm goes back that far. You get a bit of a crunch and a bit of a back crunch. Mostly the material's holding him back. That much of a spread. Leg goes up that far, and leg doesn't really go back. Decent knee bend and split cut boot, which is better than some other figures currently out, so I'll give them credit for that. But he poses okay. Not great, but okay. Let's take him to the end of the video, shall we, and see if we can beat off Ivan Ooze. So like I said in my previous Blue Ranger Billy review, a big problem I have with these guys, and it's the movie's fault, not the figure's fault, is they don't have power weapons. And they're kind of just like there. Other than the White Ranger, everybody else just gets generic fists and their stupid little blaster things. Doing something so simple as adding the sword does a lot for the character because it gives him a little bit more to do. Because, again, they all have very unique power weapons, which become, obviously, Big Blaster Mega 9000. And losing that is kind of losing a bit of their character, in a way. I'm glad that I have these, so I could, in a stance like this, give it to them. So I can add that little bit of extra love to it. But it does feel a little wrong that they don't have them at all. Either way, it's an alright figure. Just like the other ones. It's the movie look. If you love the movie look, this is perfect for you because it looks very good like the movie look. And you're not getting it anywhere else probably because the legal battle between Fox owning this movie and burying it is quite there. You'll never see anything from this movie ever again because Fox has buried it. So if you're looking for the movie look, Toys Battalion, shockingly enough, has made some decent figures so far. Toys Battalion, who doesn't usually make decent figures, has made an alright figure here. And 3 so far. 3 of 6. So I'd absolutely recommend it for anybody who's A, a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and B, a fan of the movie look specifically, because you get a lot out of this. You know, you put them next to your original Rangers, you have the lineup of the movie, and you have the lineup of the regular Rangers, and it'll look super cool. And it scales better with the Rangers than the So-So Toys one did, which was a whole different problem. But I'm happy I could show you this one at least. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe, because I am the #1 Power Rangers 6-scale YouTuber of all time. I've given myself that title, and you will all abide by it, because I said so, and I know so. So you should definitely subscribe to the #1 Power Rangers YouTuber 6-scale of all time, and like the video, and share it with all of your Power Rangers friends, so they can all come and check out my 6-scale Power Rangers kingdom. And with all of that out of the way, I've been me, and you've been you, and thank you for watching another 6-scale figure review. Hopefully you'll join me next time when we review something maybe new. I will see you then. Oh my god, Jason, what are you doing?